Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews where today we have ourselves a track from an act named Ronmivida titled Trust Me 2 or Part 2, and if we switch over to here we have ourselves a track on the screen. We got the video for it. I've checked out Part 1. It'll be great to hear the sequel. I'm going to listen through this track from start to finish and we're going to hear what you think. Let's go. What do we got? Cool. Those trance-ish EDM elements, good.
Trust me, baby. Trust me. Trust me, baby. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Trust me, baby.
When you get that hook line repeated. Interesting use of that riser there. Not riser. There's just all these textures floating around the stereo field and frequency spectrum, and it's just interesting. It's kind of fun to keep track of them. I mean, it's phenomenally busy, but it balances things quite well. And the cinematography is kind of fascinating as well. Great use of dynamic range here. Things not the same loudness.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it did well to meet that. No, I think that's well handled.
It's over. Trust me, baby. Trust me, baby. Trust me, baby. Trust me, baby. Trust me, baby.
Interesting use of panning with the vocals at the end. I think I kind of understand what this track is about. Kind of using the audio-visual experience I'm having to kind of get it from the song as well as from the movie. But we'll talk about this track more in the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an actor named Ronmivida, titled Trust Me Part 2. Now, what do I think this track is about? I think it's about someone who is trying to find faith in who they are associated with, and they want to be a part of what they're at, but at the same time, you just get the impression that they're being taken for a ride themselves, and they're kind of wallowing that sort of the self-doubt and the kind of the, like there's a little bit of grittiness going on there. Things are not as smooth as they seem or as they need to be in order to make things work. There's a bit of danger. There's a concern that things are too late, that they cannot be repaired. And so I think that's the experience we're having there, where maybe we've realized, hey, we thought things were good and we thought we could trust this person. They keep saying to trust us, but I don't think we can. I think we need to sort of protect ourselves. Either we're running through the mist to get to our desired location, or run the hell away. Either way, I think it's an interesting story, and I appreciate, again, the audiovisual experience there. I like the fact that we're working with some, because the vocals are mostly spoken parts around. Like, there's some tales, some interesting melodies from one of the singers in there who can really sort of do some really fantastic belts. And I like the way it legatos and flurries around and works nicely with all the colorful synth melodies and harmonies and stuff. But there's also like the trust me parts around the side there. It's too late, etc. All these other lines there where you kind of almost have a call and response with the sung parts and the spoken parts. And I feel like that's enough to keep things going. The hook line, even though it's repeated a lot, does not get old. I think because of the variation within the extra instrumental components of the piece. I feel as if this track is quite well fleshed out. I think that the vocals are the icing on the cake in this. The main meat of it is simply the combination of different synth, bass, and drum elements there. This track is a mixture of different builds and drops. There are some atmospheric sections there where things get very quiet, such as in that final third, where things came down a little bit, and you were really sort of left to ponder where you were going with that, whether it was sort of a heel turn or something like that. But what I like about this track, what's really special about it, is that it does go on an adventure with you, and it does kind of match the person being swallowed up in that abyss there and kind of coming out of it alive, getting it's sort of like taken out of it. So maybe the person got rescued in their running because that's their last chance and they wouldn't get that help a second time. I'm not sure. Either way, it is interesting there. There was alcohol showing there, kind of drowning there. So maybe there's like an issue with alcoholism and someone's trying to save them from drowning themselves. I'm not sure. Either way, it could be metaphorical or literal. I'm not sure. But I think that the way that the music is so heavy, it's so overwhelming and overpowering with the color of the various synth melodies. Those stabs and arpeggiators and sequences and the acid components there are just there's so many different tones and textures throughout, but they're well mixed together and layered and niched within the frequency spectrum from both a post-production and an actual arrangement perspective. I like the fact that the pads, if they had them, were a little more subtle. You had those main sort of stabs that were an alternate to the spoken parts, but then the spoken parts would go on the side to sort of sugarcoat around that. The bass line underneath reinforcing a lot of the root notes there. We did have different chord progressions there, but what the focus wasn't necessarily on making chords and having them static. It was about keeping a sense of movement, like 16th within the chord note main groove there. And I think that was just a smart move there to not overcomplicate that component there. The bass is just thick and strong and supports all the brightness on top in the mid to high ranges. The drums there, fantastic use of different quarters, eighths and 16ths there. I like the tone of the snares, how they are a little bit kind of like dusty sounding there. I appreciate the force of the kicks and how they side-chained, and there were some interesting rises and falls there with various sort of looping and incremental adjustments there that I think were really special. It was also nice to not have the drums sometimes. It was nice to allow just things to be a little more sort of ambient, not constantly pushing us forward. I feel like that is very effective, and I feel like Ronmivida, with the music that they're trying to make here, they have an astute understanding of how to balance those different components in a way that's very satisfying for a listener. And it isn't just an electronic sort of dance track, it's an adventure that you have, and it makes it sort of like transcendent, which I think that's If there's any sort of praise I can give, it's that. You know, like the theme overall is tight. I think that, oh, you know, like there's a lot of different ideas and melodies within this, and a lot of the wonderment of this track are the different sounds and how cool they are with the bass and the drum grooves and everything like that, as well as the vocals on the side giving more context, though not too much, allowing you to sort of think about it. There is a minor feel to the majority of this which indicates that we are struggling with the situation there, but the pulse and the rapid nature of those different sequences illustrates that we're in movement, we're in motion there. Aside from that, again, that more sort of ambient atmospheric part where things still stop at, you come back up and boom, you're thudding, you're running forward. So there's this feeling of kind of running from or to something that I get, not just from the vocals, but also from the music there. And you can dance along with it whilst also considering why the music exists, and I like the fact that they aren't separate. The studio recording, mixing and mastering is tight. Happy with the quality of the vocal performance as well as what's going on with the synth-based drums, how they're layered within a frequency spectrum in the stereo field there. Lots of things moving around, sort of sub-layers on top of mains, etc. There's depth to the mix, there is dynamic range, things aren't the same loudness all the time. The vocals are well handled and produced. The transfers between sections are elegant. The sound's commercial grade. It's nice and loud without pumping, so bus compression limiting was handled. It's what I'd expect from someone of Ronmivida standing, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to review more of their works, because thank you very much for watching this review of my this track from an act named Ronmivida, titled Trust Me Part 2, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go check them out via their various social medias, and I think this is all on digital streaming platforms, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.